Tell us a little bit about mindset. We're all here. We all, as investors, are challenged to overcome our self-limiting beliefs. And you've had so much success in the world of big business and entrepreneurship
made a
and
lot of
investing.
mistakes.
That's right. So what are some of the self-limiting beliefs you've struggled with but yet overcome?
So mindset. Mindset's really, really important. Let me go back to, I'm going to really date myself here, 1985. So Robert and I decided we were going to take a leap of faith, and we were going to go leave Hawaii and move to Southern California. So quit our job. I quit my job. He let go of his business. We sold everything we had, which wasn't much, and we moved to Southern California. We ran out of money in about 2 months. No job, no income. We were studying. Robert was studying to teach a course. I was just looking at different ways to make money. Nothing was happening. We were homeless for a period of time. We even talk about in our book, we spent a couple nights in an old beat-up brown Toyota Celica. We knocked on people's doors of friends. We slept in basements. It was a really, really tough time. And you talk about mindset. My mindset was decimated. It was like my self-esteem, my self-worth, everything I had tied up in who I was and what I am just went down the toilet. And it was probably the toughest time of my life. This is making a little bit of noise, but it's okay. It just is making noise, so I hope that's not bothering anybody.
We can bring some out in a minute.
Yeah. So what happened was, what was I going to do? How was I going to get out of this funk? I mean, I would go to bed at night thinking, maybe I just won't wake up in the morning. That would be easier. And my mindset was so upside down. And so what turned it around for me is I just started to do something. I had to do something. So I went to a friend of mine, and she had a clothing line. And we were in Del Mar, and there's a big racetrack in Del Mar. And I said, let me put on a fashion show at Del Mar racetrack. Never did this before, never knew how to do it, didn't have any experience. But I just got out there and started doing it.
Right.
And so when you talk about real estate, you talk about business, whenever I have a tough time, like my very first real estate deal, It's like I was so scared. My self-doubt, what if I make a mistake? What if the tenant moves out? What if I did the numbers wrong and I'm negative, and all of the self-doubt?
Where's the money going to come from?
Where's the money going to come from? So it was just take that step, take that action, and then there's got to be motion. Nothing happens until something moves. There's got to be motion to make things happen. So the mindset for me changed when you just take that first step. You take that little baby step, and you see, oh, I'm going to be okay. Then you take the next baby step. Oh, this is working. My fashion show was a raving success.
Nice.
But that mindset of not letting me get so negative, go do something, see that I can do something, and that positivity is so important.
Yeah.
Is so important. And I'll add one more thing. There was a study done on centenarians, people that lived to be 100 years or older, and they wanted to find out what the common denominators were. And I think it's the same for when you talk about mindset, it's the same thing. It's the same thing for entrepreneurs. It's the same thing for investors. First was they had a sense of purpose. I think for a healthy mindset, a sense of purpose, whatever it is, small or big, to gardening, to changing the world, there's a purpose. Yeah. The second thing was they were optimistic. Huge for mindset. And the third thing was resiliency, how well they came back from a setback. Yeah. So when you hit a wall or you hit an obstacle, does it devastate you, or do you get back up and you keep going? Right. For everybody at Rich Dad, for Robert, for myself, we've always lived by when we make a mistake, when we have a failure, hate doing it, hate having that mistake, and hate having that failure. But then you look back and you go, okay, a mistake's just telling me something I didn't know.
Right.
So what is it we didn't know, and what did we learn from this mistake? And that's how we grow, and that's how we move forward.
That's awesome.
So
did y'all hear that? Purpose, optimism, and resiliency.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Yep.
So another thing that, I mean, everyone is here. They've invested time and money in themselves, in personal development. You just started off rewarding them for that and acknowledging that. What priority should people put on developing themselves and investing in themselves?
Oh, everything. Everything.
Yep.
Okay, so how many of you do wholesaling full-time? Fabulous. How many of you do it part-time? Perfect. And how many of you are looking to get into wholesaling? Perfect. Okay, so personal development. So you're all entrepreneurs. I mean, especially if you're in wholesaling, you're an entrepreneur. You've got your business going. If there's any fast track to personal growth and personal development, is being an entrepreneur, is having your own business.
Yeah.
Because every day we face problems, right? Every day you're overcoming some challenge. And you've got to look at yourself in the mirror every single day.
Right.
Look at yourself, Paul. Every day there's mistakes we make. There's problems that we have to solve. The purpose of an entrepreneur is to solve a problem. So as you're out there, when we look at in our business, what's the problem we're trying to solve? So as you're going out in your business and you're practicing your wholesaling and you're buying deals and you're doing this and you're taking action and you're making closing deals and finding sellers, what's the problem you're solving for the people you're dealing with? So for us at the Rich Dad Company, the problem we saw was there was no financial education in 99.999% of schools.
Right.
So we took on the task of bringing financial education to as many people as wanted it throughout the world.
Yeah.
So I don't think, I know for a fact, I would not be where I am today had it not been for personal development.
Yeah.
Looking inward, looking at myself, not, when something happens, first thing I want to do is go blame somebody. It's your fault,
Right.
Their fault. And every time when I start looking at what's going on, it always comes back to, no, it was my fault. At some level.
Right.
So I always say that I'm actually looking at a book on kind of combining business, investing, and personal development. Because personal development is about growth. And if you're not growing, if you're not taking chances, if you're not learning, if you're not going into the unknown, and the unknown is where magic happens, the unknown is where growth happens. The unknown, how many of you have had, so afraid to do something? Maybe it's to make a phone call to somebody important, or to close a deal, or to talk to that first seller, all of that happening. You're so afraid to do it, but you do it. And you do it and it works. Or you do it and you learn something, but you do it. And that's where growth happens. That's probably the best personal growth, is you taking action when there's fear and you don't want to do it and you're afraid to do it, but you do it anyway. That's where magic happens.
That's right.